Well, here's an eye-opener. By the way, it's from the Washington Post. I guess the newly conservative Washington Post. Well, I won't go that far. But good investigative reporting. $163 billion. $163 billion has been lost to pandemic, unemployment, fraud. And the Democrats, or at least many of them, want to spend even more money. I don't get it. Here to talk about this story, Florida Congressman Vern Buchanan of the House Ways and Means Committee. Vern, welcome. I'm going to call you the incoming chairman when the cavalry comes, but we thank you for your time. So, as I read the whole Washington Post article, which I thought was a very good article, and then I read the Ways and Means Committee release and so forth. What I gather, Vern Buchanan, is that it's $163 billion, but it could be as much as $400 billion. That this is just an inspector general estimate from the Labor Department. So how bad is this?
Well, it's probably closer, unfortunately, to $400 billion, and we've been pushing to have oversight take a look at this. I used to chair it when we were in the majority, and we've been pushing it for the last year aggressively. We've had hearings on it. But again, we've got to get into this. That'll be one of my biggest commitments when we get back in the majority, is take a look at this. Because it doesn't only just affect the dollars being wasted, but it's also had a huge impact, I think, on small business in terms of people finding workers to work as well. And the incentive is set up to stay at home more than go to work. That's not a good thing. As someone that's been in business 30 years, setting those incentives properly are critical.
But you know, Vern, reading through this article, I mean, it's amazing to me, the volume of fraud. I mean, they're from fraud from Nigeria and Russia and a bunch of foreign companies, putting together these pools of criminals who then create pools of information so people can, you know, somehow pry loose unemployment benefits. They're, you know, voting dead people. In this case, they're stealing personal identity in this place. I mean, I don't know all that goes along with this. I used to be in that game, as you know. But I would just posit this. If you're going to pour trillions and trillions of dollars, this is what's going to happen. Government can't do this. It's not fit out to do this.
Well, I hate to say it, but the reality is that it's true of a lot of our programs. I mean, if you look at what happened with a lot of tax people, if someone stole their tax ID and took their returns, and a lot of those organizations are criminal organizations outside the U.S. If you look at Medicare, which we oversee, unfortunately, it's $60 to $70 billion of fraud each year. That's not an exaggeration. That's the truth on about $700 billion worth of money that's being spent Medicare alone. So, and the same thing when I seen the whole thing on student loans, I said, here we go again. It's another government program, and obviously these things have to be looked at aggressively, and there's got to be transparency, and they've got to be dealt with in an aggressive manner in terms of fraud.
I mean, last night on the show, Newt Gingrich and I were talking about the need to pursue a balanced budget. And part of the issue here, there's a lot of trimming that can be done on spending. But the waste, fraud, and abuse, which some people think is a cliche, this shows it's not a cliche. That kind of waste, fraud, and abuse is very real. And Vern, besides the balanced budget idea, how many other programs, you mentioned Medicare, do you think are littered throughout the budget where this kind of fraud is occurring on a regular, normal basis?
Unfortunately, probably a lot of them, or most of them. You know, some of the percentages are bigger. But I want to go back, because I know you've been very passionate about it. You spoke a lot about the spending. The balanced budget amendment, when I came here, one of the reasons I ran is I wanted a balanced budget amendment. We were running $130 billion deficits. If you look over the last 20 years, we've averaged over $1 trillion a year, especially the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. And we need a constitutional balanced budget amendment. 49 out of 50 governors have it. I've been in business for 30 years before I got here. You can't continue to spend like they do, or any organization or a family or anybody else. At some point, you go bankrupt. And that's clearly where we're at. We've got to slow this down, take back this government, because they're going to lead us into bankruptcy. It's going to have a big impact on our family, our kids and our grandkids. And that's my passion, is to make sure we get this ship turned around.
Well, I think, you know, I don't know. We could talk about the constitutional amendment, but I just think in policy terms, there's a way to do this balanced budget idea as a matter of policy that would be pro-growth, that would increase growth and family wages, and Vern, it would cut inflation. In other words, you'd stop the spending, the deficit financing, the borrowing, and the money printing. And I think people would welcome that. I mean, to me, I'll give you the last word.
Well, you have a lot more confidence than I do, but I can just tell you they clearly are looking for more spending. Now they're looking at taxes. They passed a bill the Democrats did out of our committee. When you added it all up on pass-through entities, it was 46.4%. And then if you happen to be from New Jersey, New York, or California, it's up to 60%. So it's crazy. So they've got all this spending going on, and now they're trying to justify it with your tax dollars and everybody else's.
Vern Buchanan, the cavalry's coming, sir. The cavalry is coming.
Thank you.
Can't come soon enough.
Appreciate
Thanks.
you.
You bet.